And she was doing very well until she got a boyfriend.
And don't you know, sometimes it's funny that you make the comment about putting someone on your card. We don't understand the value of it. Because when you put someone on your card, what you are essentially doing is allowing them to use your credit.
Exactly.
If you have great credit and the individual is not obtained any credit as of yet, and they're actually trying to start building credit, it's great to put them on your card
Right, that's what I did it for.
As an authorized user, so that it can show that they're starting to build credit. Now, you have to understand also that there's some agents, some bureaus that actually will not report negative actions on a credit card, okay, as an authorized user. But then you have other bureaus that will. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Experian will. So you have to know the ins and outs about what they're going to report and what they will not report. But putting a person on your card as an authorized user is a great strategy. It's a great tool to help that individual build their credit. We talked about secure cards. You know, it's very important that you understand the value of getting a secure card if you can't obtain credit yourself.
Now, what's the you mean a gift like I gave her?
Well, not so much a gift that you gave her. A security card is a card that's a credit card, but it's a card that you use for your own self as a security. You use your money as a security deposit on that card. So you're pretty much giving the bank your money, saying, look, I'm going to give you $500 and I want a credit card. And you use that credit card just the same as if you were going to use any other credit card in grocery stores in the same manner. When you go to rent a vehicle, you know, they're going to ask you for a credit card. You just give them a check, or you just can't give them cash. And you can use that secure card.
They don't trust checks anymore, do they?
They don't, because so many fraudulent activities happen with checks. Anybody can write a check and put their information on it and say, here, and you give me the merchandise, and you don't see them again.
Because I had some trees trimmed at my house yesterday, and the young man said, are you going to give me a check? I said, no, I'd like to pay you credit. You would?
He was shocked.
Yes. I said, no, I'm going to pay you credit for, cash money for this. I'm going to put it on a credit card.
Yeah.
But after my niece got a good tongue lashing from me, I love her to death. She paid back. I took the card and cut it up. She didn't. She's never gotten it back. But she says, well, it wasn't me. I said, it was him. She said, it was him. I said, well, if you'd kept it in your own purse where you're supposed to have it at, you wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And she said, but credit cards are famous. I said, no, they're not famous. She said, well, I figure I'll go up to the gas tank. He needs gas. I'll use my card. Make a good impression, Aunt Rose. I said, I don't give a damn about a right impression. You don't try to impress somebody with my money.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that it's going to make an impact on you because you have them on your card as an authorized user. So it's essentially like you're using that card as well.
That's right.
One of the things that I always try to tell individuals is we have to have an investment in ourselves. The best investment that we can make is in ourselves.
Exactly.
Is to become educated. And that's one of the things about our services that we use. We make sure that when people come to us, we educate them. We put so much emphasis on trying to ensure that people get it. 6 months, 9 months from the time.
What do you tell them when they call you up?
Okay, well, first and foremost.
Let it be me. I'm calling you up.
Okay.
My credit sucks. I need more credit, whatever.
What
would you do?
First thing I want to do is ask you questions about your spending habits. I want to ask you questions about your paying your bills. How do you pay your bills? And make an assessment of whether or not you are paying your bills on time. Make an assessment whether or not you're overextending yourself and and getting too much credit. And try to look at your debt to credit ratio.
Okay.
Look and see what different types of credit you have. Are you a member of a credit union? Trying to look and see if you have any type of retail accounts, if you have any mortgage accounts, do you have a vehicle loan on your credit? And make an assessment, because see, what happens is this. 35% of your credit history is based on, 35% of your credit is based on your credit history. Your credit history is based on, are you paying your bills on time?
So they keep track of all of us, don't they?
And I'm telling you, and that is a hard percentage to let go away when you're one day late on a bill. The next thing they're going to look at is your debt to credit ratio. How much do you owe individuals? You have a $1,000 credit card and you have $800 that you've used on that card. That's not good.
No, God, no.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. People overextend themselves. And even if sometimes you go over the limit, it's even worse. Okay? And then also they talk about the different types of credit that you have. If you have any new credit, Okay, and then also we got to look at your credit history, meaning the amount of time that you've had credit. Your payment history, I'm sorry, the first one was your payment history. But then the third one is the payment history and your credit history. How long have you had credit? Sometimes people may have credit and want to go and try to close their accounts. Well, if you go and close an account that you've had credit for 10 years, you've just canceled 10 years of having credit.
Really?
You don't want to do that. You don't want to close any accounts if you possibly don't have to.
So you should always keep them open.
You should try to keep them open.
But if you don't use them, won't they take them away from us?
Well, sometime in your situation they did, because they took your credit away from you because you said that
Bank of America did it.
You said that you had so much credit. Okay. Now what they're saying is they feel like you're maybe a potential risk. You may potentially become late because you have so much credit. Don't mean that you are or that you have been. It means that you possibly could. And so they start to get fearful of the fact that you may start paying your bills late. Now, I'm an advocate of saying that, you get credit and you are very responsible, then you get the credit.
Yeah.
You hold on to that credit and you keep it as, you build up your credit limit like that. But at the same time, only responsible people can do so. Sometimes, I teach people the strategy or the technique of, let's say, for instance, you've been on time for 2 years and you've never been late on a payment, just like yourself. Well,
I can honestly say that to be the truth. I've never been late on a payment.
Well, it's important that you call up your creditor, and you tell them, look, I want you to give me a higher limit, and I want you to give me a lower rate.
But see, I'm satisfied with what I have.
Yeah, but you'll be amazed. But see, what ends up happening is if you get a higher limit, and then they lower your rate, your credit score is going to go up.
I get a higher limit.
And a lower rate.
And a lower rate.
Now, a lower rate obviously means you're going to pay less money because you're paying less interest. But my point is, for you to have a higher limit on your credit line, what that does is it decreases your debt to credit ratio.
Really?
Yes, it does. And see, a lot of people don't know that you can just make a phone call, and then what happens is, let's say, for instance, they say, well, you have to have made every payment on time for 12 months.
That's what I did with Bank of America.
And let's say you're at the 10th month. Well, in 2 months, call them. Call them and say, it's been 12 months and I've been on time and I have not missed a payment, and now I want you to now increase my credit limit.
Because I called Bank of America for one reason or another. I don't remember after this happened. And the young girl was on the phone. I didn't get her name. And when I told her, I said, I'm not just mad, I am PISS off, okay?
I bet you were.
And I said, and she says, that's so wrong. She says, I'm looking at you here on the computer. You've never been a late day in your life.
Let me say this.
See, this is what made me sick.
It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You have doctors, lawyers, professional athletes.
Yes.
I was just watching a show the other day, and one of the athletes that actually hasn't gotten signed because he had a surgery, he has ACL surgery.
I won't mention,
And I don't want to mention his name.
I'm not going to mention his name either.
Right, but he was crying on his show because his credit score is below 550. This is a multi-millionaire who's been playing in the NFL for over 10 years.
My God, 10.5%.
No, I mean his credit score is below 550.
Oh, below 550.
And he's a multi-millionaire, and he doesn't know what happened to his money. I mean, the bottom line is it doesn't really matter who you are. I just signed up an attorney last week, I think, because her credit was, bad because of situations that have transpired. But the most important thing I want to make sure you understand is, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter who you are.
Or how much money you have.
Or how much money you have. You can still have bad credit, and you have to have good credit to move forward in this life. You really do.
Because when that young girl was talking to me, she says, you've never been late. Your credit score is fabulous. Who did this? I said, I don't really know, but I'm just calling you to let you know I'm not going to let this drop. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Really? I bet you they were like, okay, now what do we do?
Okay, let's go on to something else here. We were talking before if you had to have a high score to buy a house or a low score, credit score, which is better? I'm sure a high score.
To buy a house,
to purchase a home.
You want to have a higher score, definitely, because you want to get a lower interest rate. The higher your score, the lower your rate's going to be.
Okay.
And your interest rate's going to really determine, the extra money you pay towards that house. You don't want to have a high interest rate at all. I talk about sometime.
Go right ahead, talk all you want.
I talk about sometime that, we have to become passionate about educating individuals of how important their credit is. I think that every adult, in my opinion, have an obligation to educate the next generation about credit.
That's the children.
I think you need to, pull them aside and talk to them and explain to them the values of these things. And I don't think we do it enough.
We don't.
And I try to hold anybody that come into my circle accountable to doing so. And if I see little kids, sometimes, I'll call them over and I'll say, what are you guys doing? And I'll carry the conversation with them about what they're doing, but I'll end that conversation talking to them about, so do you know what a credit report is? And they'll look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But then by the time they leave, I can ask them those questions and they'll know. You will be amazed at the interest that they have in it.
They do.
They really have an interest, but you just gotta get them there. You have to get them to want to talk about it and make
They're
it
hungry.
fun.
You've got to feed them.
Yeah, you have to. They're not teaching this in school. Why is that?
I have no idea.
Why aren't they teaching credit
Maybe
in
the
school?
teachers don't think money's good.
Well, I think that should be the #1 topic. You got math, you got science.
Exactly.
Why aren't you teaching credit?
And all I usually hear about, you can't eat too much. Don't eat that macaroni and cheese. Don't eat them big fat burgers.
They're talking about taking gym out of school. Okay,
Yeah, it's going to kill the kids.
And so I say, look, if they're not going to do it, we have to do it at home.
Right.
Each parent is responsible for making sure that their child not only comes out of high school and out of college, but in elementary.
Exactly.
You would be amazed at how smart kids are. I was helping my son with his homework the other day, and I was amazed at what they're learning now.
What's he learning?
Trigonometry and
Oh,
biology and algebra, and at a young age. So we really have to do our homework, and we have to become educated, and we have to pass that knowledge down to generation to generation.
We need to get a group of kids together.
Yeah, we need to have a show.
And I don't know how many we could get in here, but they need to be educated.
And let them talk to us about what they think it is. You would be amazed.
Oh, I know.
And then we educate them on what it really is.
Because I was talking to a teenage girl the other day, and she said to me, this is almost time to wrap up, and we could go on for another 3 hours.
Oh, my goodness, are you serious?
We're just barely getting there.
Okay, well, we have some more shows we'll do.
We've got to, because I've got to tell you about the teenage girl and things like that.
Okay.
But we really need to get to the children.
Okay,
we can talk back and forth.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. I want to thank you for watching it. I don't know where the 30 minutes, but I had one good time. Did you have a good time?
I had a blast.
Thanks for watching. Until next time.